As some of you may have noticed from my last video that I put up the fry bake plantain, we've been doing some upgrades to the show, and it's because for Mother's Day that just passed, the kids gave me a brand new camera and a wireless lavalier or lapel mic to run the show a little bit better, but they gave me those gifts and didn't teach me anything about how to use it. So in the last video, I recorded totally in HD and didn't realize that that wasn't the best recording feature to use to put it on YouTube. So that's why a part of that video came out a little bit digitized. But that meal came out so good that I wasn't about to go redo it. So I know you guys understand. Now on this one, I had already recorded the intro and the extra. And when I pulled off the videos onto the computer to start editing, I realized that it recorded only in mono, the microphone I mean. So I had to run down to my local Radio Shack and get an adapter. And so now here I am re-recording the beginning and the ending. And today's recipe is Joe's recipe for fry okra. And so let's get into the making of the video. If you notice that in between when we're cooking the meal that the sound is only coming through one of your speakers, don't panic, don't try to adjust anything. It's because that meal was recorded already before I got the adapter, okay? But the next video after this, all these bugs will be ironed out and I'm sure things are gonna be a whole lot better. You're watching the Bear Pantry Show. So here's the okra, and Joe bought it in the packaging this time. He didn't want to buy the frozen kind, so he bought this kind in the packaging. And I'll show you when we get it out of the packaging how to test, if you're buying loose okra, how to test to see if it's fresh or not. But let's get it out of the packaging. We're going to put it in a bowl and get it all washed. Did you hear that pop? See, when you pop the, is that the tail or the head?
Whichever one you want to call it.
I call it the tail, but Joe says that's the head, right? Right? Is that the head?
That's what I call it.
Okay, we have this argument all the time. I don't grow things, so I don't know, but when you pop that ending part, show the ending part for me a little bit better, Joe. Okay, when you pop that ending part of the okra, if it snaps with a loud pop, that means it's fresh. If it just kind of keels over limp and bend, then it's not as fresh, but it's still good. But I mean, if you're picking them loose and you have an option, get the fresh ones, right? So let's get them washed. All right, so we start from this end. I say this is the tail because it looks like a tail. Joe says that it's the head because of how the things run. I say this is the head. We don't really know what the answer is, but we throw this part away. So just get the knife and cut like that. I had the cutting board that way. If you want to cut it on the cutting board, that's fine too. And we throw that part away. We don't like that part at all for this fried okra. So this is what I'm going to do with all the rest of the okra. I'm going to get it cut like this. And again, you can use the cutting board if you want, but we're pros, right? So we could do it this way. So after I get this all in the pot, we'll be back to show you what to do next. See how much okra we got in the pot? We cut it all up into these pieces. Normally we would do this in a skillet, but it's too much, so that's why we're putting it in this 6-quart pot. And look over here, see all the heads or the tails. Somebody write me a comment and tell me if this part is the head or the tail, because Joe and I have this as a constant battle in here, and he says for sure this part's the tail because of how the okra is grown in the ground. I say it's the head because it looks like the cap of something. So let's see who's correct. And if he's correct, I'm going to apologize to him on another video. So let's go over to the stove and see what we're going to do next. We're going to put this on the stove with some water. So it's on high fire, and he's going to add 2 cups of regular water. Do we need more?
No, I don't think we need more. Let's see. Let me guess.
Okay, he says he needs to speak a little bit more loudly. He says he doesn't think we need any more, but he's going to check with his spoon.
This is pretty good.
Cool. And the reason that Joe's helping me today is because this is one of his recipes that he's professional at, and I just kind of mimic him. So what happens next, Joe? This cooks for a while?
Let it cook for a while and get soft. Then we're going to take the spoon and chop it all up. As you can see right now, we add 2 cups of water.
Uh-huh.
And so we're going to let it boil for a while.
All right.
And so it gets soft, and we're just going to chop it up with the spoon.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, we're going to add the salt, the black pepper, and the onion, and on the oil, and let it fry. And we go from there.
Okay, so he just like gave you a whole lot of instructions. Don't panic, okay? Because I'm going to show you every step of the way what we're doing. The next step, we're going to let this boil for a little bit. And then we're going to come back and add some of the ingredients he just said. We'll be back in a few minutes. This is 10 minutes later. See how it's boiling and it's soft? You know, and I understand that some people don't like okra also. So if this is not one of the recipes that you like, that's okay. I just happen to like okra. So Joe has half of an onion here. And he's just going to slice it up in the okra right here. We don't think we need more onions in that, but if we do, we'll get the other half. And this is like a medium-sized onion. So and he's just slicing it in the okra. And then, are we going to add some oil now too, Joe?
Add everything to it right now.
Okay, so let me get the oil. Oh, okay, he has the black pepper ready, so let's watch that. He's putting in his pinch. That's a Joe pinch. That's like a teaspoon or more of black pepper. And this you put to your taste. Try not to put too much salt, because Joe and I argue a lot about the salt that he puts in this okra dish, because I think he puts too much. I think that's too much. I really think that's too much. But that's like a teaspoon too. If I were cooking this, I'd probably put half a teaspoon of salt and half a teaspoon of black pepper, and then you taste it and see what you like with the taste. So let me go ahead and get the cooking oil for Joe while he's managing things. Oh, he has it already. He's a pro today. And he's putting a little bit of oil. That's about 1/8 of a cup. And Joe doesn't measure stuff when he cooks. He's one of those old school cooks. I measure everything because I want to get it correct. And so he's just going to use this nylon pot spoon. You don't want to use one that's metallic because it's going to mess up your non-stick pot. And he's going to continue this on for the next few minutes. I would say about 5 minutes at least. And he's just going to chop. Do this in a chopping motion. We have one more dish too that does this chopping motion type thing, and it's the fried callaloo. But for right now, we're doing the fried okra. We'll get to the fried callaloo in the future because summer is coming up and his callaloo is going to sprout up in the backyard, and we're going to do that dish for the summer. And so basically, he's just going to continue chopping, chopping, chopping to make this really, really mushy. And while he's doing that, I want to show you something that I actually achieved today. Let's go over to this other pot. Okay, so look at this. Regular old rice and beans, right? But check this out. I made it in a crock pot from start to finish. Beans, rice, everything. I am so excited to do this video in the very near future because I want to show you how you can do rice and beans from scratch all the way in the crock pot. So excited about this. Now let's go back to Joe and his okra. This is about 15 minutes later. Joe did that chopping motion for a total of about 5 minutes, then he walked away, I'd say for about 7 minutes or so, and then he came back and he started stirring rapidly because it's frying. I don't know if the camera is picking up these brown spots there on the pot. Oh, it steamed over. Or in the okra itself. See some brown spots? That's where it's actually frying on the bottom of the pan. It's not really burnt. I would say high brown. Remember I used that before? My Aunt Tally used to always say that. It's not burnt, it's high brown. But you want it that way. It gives it that nice flavor, and it has a nice smell going. Because the kids don't like okra, but even my older son Josh went by and said, it actually smells good. And the reason they don't like okra, it's not because of the taste, it's because of how slimy it is. A lot of people don't like the consistency, and I respect that because there's a lot of things I will not eat, not because it tastes bad, but because of the consistency in my mouth. I just can't stand how it feels in my mouth. And so, if you're a fan of okra, I hope you'll try this recipe. So right now, Joe's gonna let this go for about how much longer, Joe?
3 more minutes.
About 3 more minutes? Okay, so about 3 more minutes. And the black pepper is giving him a lot of trouble on his nose. Bump my camera. Let's see if we can get it above. See? Beautiful. I'll show you the finished product in about 3 minutes. Did you guys notice how I tricked Joe into cooking this whole meal for us? Yes, yes, yes. Let's go back on the okra. This is about 1 more minute left to get this okra off the fire. And you know what? Actually, I have something to show you guys. He never really turned the fire down. See? It's still on high. It's still on high. And right now we're doing a job at the shop. You guys know we're self-employed. And it's going to give me some money that I could buy a brand new stove. This stove is about 12 years old. And it's about time for us to get a brand new stove. So we're doing some upgrades to the show here.
I think that looks pretty good now.
All right, Joe, get it off the stove. Here's the finished product. Now I'm going to eat this with my rice and beans today and some stewed chicken. And I've always been a great lover of okra, I'll be honest with you. I used to eat this with my grandma. And a lot of the things I learned to taste with her because the other kids ran away and I want to taste it. So I hope this is a recipe that you'll try. And I promise you, if you like okra, you're going to enjoy this because the okra tastes actually very sweet when we cook it this way. Now, as I've told you before, when it comes to okra, a lot of people don't like it because of the consistency, the slimy taste that it has. I happen to like the taste of okra, but there's a lot of things that I don't like the taste of. And when I cook the meal, I always want to be honest with you to tell you if it's a meal that I don't necessarily like, but I'll still cook it because Joe showed me how to make it for him. You know, sometimes when you're with a family and in a marriage, sometimes you do have to cook meals that you don't like the taste of. But if you're there and you're going to make the meal, of course you want to try something that you're going to like. I promise if you can get past the slimy taste of okra, you're going to love the way that Joe cooked this meal today because with a little burnt taste to it, it really smells good, it tastes good. And all I ask is just taste a little piece of it. If you don't like okra, taste a little tip of it just to get the taste. And if you don't like the consistency, I really and truly respect that. So let me know if you cook this meal, okay? And coming up soon, I don't know if I've mentioned it before, but we're going to be doing count soup, count fritters, crab soup. We're going to throw some desserts again in there. So just stick with me. And I promise we're going to have some exciting new meals coming up for the summer. Thank you for watching. I love you so much for subscribing. And I really appreciate the people who have taken the time and invested the money to pick up my book. Until I see you again, take care.